Happiness is never better exhibited than by young animals, such as puppies, kittens, lambs, and company when playing together like our own children. That was Charles Darwin, what he wrote in 1872 in The Descent of Man. It reminds us that play isn't something that we learned at Toys R Us or from Elmo on Sesame Street, or even from Dick and Jane. Play is part of the wiring of our animal family, and it is truly a magical thing. This Sunday, we're going to talk a little bit about play among our animal siblings and hopefully make a little more space for play in our human lives, too. Most of us have pets, are familiar with how playful they are. Perhaps we think our pets exceptional, but play goes far wider than our furry loved ones. Did you know that birds play? Or even reptiles, fish, and insects engage in something we can call play. I mean, they're not playing house or playing board games, but stepping away from our human culture, many researchers agree that something counts as play if animals do it voluntarily over and over again, when they're not stressed, and it's different from a more serious version of that same activity. It's not all that different from our human version, just a slightly wider net. Play is something we choose to do, we do it over and over, and it's different from a more serious version. Just like humans, animals learn about social interactions and fairness in play. While they're having fun, they also learn kind of the implicit ground rules and boundaries of others. They learn how hard they can bite or how rough they can be when they interact. They learn to resolve conflicts when things don't go so well. And for social animals, that's really priceless and necessary for getting along. Of course, it's important to know when your neighbor's playing. Animals are really clear with one another, sometimes a lot more clear than we are when we're playing with one another. Dog owners will be familiar with the play bow when a dog sticks its rump up in the air and presses down on its forepaws. It's symbol that it's playtime. Apparently, chimpanzees have a similar comparable play face. In fact, the facial expressions of chimpanzees are so distinct that human caregivers can learn to sense what chimps are thinking and feeling. Young ravens play with virtually any kind of new object they encounter. It gets them familiar with all sorts of things: what's edible, what's not, what's normal, what's not. Adults show a similar sort of play, but they're super reluctant around new food items. They've been playing their whole lives by then. I was intrigued this week to find out how gendered play is among a lot of species. Baby horses begin playing almost immediately, sometimes just a few hours after birth. A lot of their play is galloping and frolicking and nipping at mom, apparently. Later on, they start tossing things around like boards or balls or buckets or whatever they can get their little mouth on. But as early as a month old, colts and fillies, that's to say male and female horses, start playing differently. Colts spend much more time playfully fighting and mounting others. Fillies, on the other hand, are mostly engaged in galloping and mutual grooming. The funniest example of play that I read about this week was kangaroos play fighting each other, really play boxing, as soon as they come out of the pouch. Baby kangaroos are often seen sparring with their mothers, but adult partners will handicap themselves by staying flat-footed and using only their paws rather than actually throwing punches. Also, along gender lines, male kangaroos are 30 times more likely than females to engage in this behavior, probably because they're making way for a very physical hierarchy in their adulthood. The most surprising piece of play I learned about was fish. They leap out of the air for no reason at all. Not to hunt or to evade predators, they just seem to like jumping, sometimes over sticks and other objects. And the creepiest version. One species of spider, the combed-footed spider, will play at having sex when it's not yet mature. The advantage to learning this behavior through play is that when it's only play, the females are less likely to eat the male afterwards. There are all sorts of other examples throughout the animal world. It's pretty eye-opening. Play is everywhere. In talking about the purpose of play in the animal world, I don't want to suggest that the worth of play or the worth of joy or the worth of happiness is reducible to those goals. Play isn't good because it helps us hunt or improves our motor skills. Play isn't good because it teaches us about mating. Play is good all on its own. Happiness, as long as it isn't destructive, is good, is beautiful, is accessible, and hopefully available to all of us. A couple of weeks ago, I was talking about the theme of this month with a friend. He had a reflection on the topic that surprised me a little bit. The theme for the month is play, by the way. One of the challenges that he had with his church past was the hard line that was drawn distinguishing joy from happiness. He remembered this being a common point of teaching in his evangelical background. And later in the week, I confirmed this line of reasoning with another friend, and he said, "Oh yeah, for sure. The church uses joy and happiness as two very different things. Joy is something that's deeply rooted in purpose and relationship with others and connected to the sacred. The word happiness was used to describe a state that was more fleeting, something that could be problematic if it were taken to excess." To be fair, evangelicals aren't unique in picking apart happiness. Preparing for this week, I found readings from several Unitarian Universalist sources that spoke about true play and deep play, and one even talked about play as a transcendental experience. The object of our happiness is not an insignificant question. But that's what we dig into just about every other Sunday in worship. Keeping focused on justice, love, peace, compassion, the sacred. Just about every other Sunday we talk about a sort of discipline and how we direct our attentions. So this week and this month, I want to let go of some of that discipline. As that first friend reminded me, what's so wrong with just being happy? Isn't happy a worthwhile goal too? I want to say yes, it absolutely is. So I thought I would share with you a little taste of the variety that play had entered my life. I was reminded of one that I sort of missed this week. As a younger person, I spent a lot of time going to dance clubs. Most weekends throughout my 20s and early 30s were spent with friends, very loud music, and our wider gay community. There was something about dancing with my community without concern for the outside world or class or work on Monday or parents or politics. There was something magical about being there, enjoying music together. And since most of this happened in Oklahoma, there was also something rebellious about that type of joy. It was like having a good time together, being happy was a radical act. These days, the idea of staying up till 3 o'clock in the morning or listening to music that makes my ears ring throughout the night makes me cringe. But still, they are incredibly fond memories of happy times. Just this week, I think I realized that I might call running a kind of play, and one that has been important to me. It's something that I've done off and on since high school. My kind of running fits the definition of play that we had for animals a bit. I'm not running from something or running toward something. I'm not even all that concerned about getting faster or keeping time. It's just something that I choose to do for no great purpose. Running is a way of connecting with my own body, and this may sound a little bit sadistic, but part of that connection with myself is through experiencing the challenge and the discomfort of it. It isn't all unpleasant, though. On a good run, something magical happens. About the third quarter of the run, I'm able to relax into what I'm doing. I can literally forget where I am with no care for the distance that I've covered or how far I have left to go. I'm not too tired yet, but I'm definitely warmed up, and I'm connected with my body in a way that can just step back and observe something happening with ease. It feels really good sometimes. I do love a good silly movie. When I go sailing or talk about sailing, it's usually riddled with pirate references and sometimes pirate voices. This very afternoon, I will embark on my first attempt at partner yoga with Ryan at home. It involves a lot of counterbalancing and pushing off and pulling on one another to create and maintain postures. It will be challenging and no doubt riddled with laughter. I think the most exciting package I got from Amazon this week was this very bubble machine. I play in the kitchen making ice cream, only very simple recipes because if they're too difficult, it turns into work. And as I wrote this sermon in the sunny, beautiful afternoons of this week, I started to wonder if we might rightly call napping a kind of play. So I'll stop droning on about my own fun, but I wanted to share with you all of that because a lot of you only see me up here in this silly tie and robe behind this very big, heavy pulpit. At least our pulpit is purple, right? That's kind of playful. At heart, I'm a pretty silly person. And I hope you also have a long list of activities in your life that let you forget about some of the world. Things that make you laugh in ways that would be embarrassing. Things that let you forget about the responsibilities of tomorrow and enjoy the joy of the moment for no purpose at all. Some of you have noticed that we've purchased a few outdoor games for after the service. We have cornhole and sidewalk chalk and some hula hoops. I admit we probably need to invest in some adult-size hula hoops if that's something we want to explore. For those who are more comfortable playing at a table, there are now a couple of sets of tic-tac-toe that are available. We've tried to find games that are quick, that people can jump in and out of in the midst of their deep theological and political conversations. We initially purchased these for families to keep kids entertained after the service so parents could extend their adult time. But maybe we shouldn't let the kids have all the fun. Church can be fun and playful for adults too. Amen.